Hi there. In this tip, we're going to sort of answer a question and sort of dive a little bit deeper into a comment that I got from one of my viewers. So he was looking at my 5-minute tip on placing objects on the surface of on a surface, the one where I place trees on a landscape. And I went over a technique in that tip to very precisely place trees on a landscape. Now in the comment, I'm not sure which comments, but in some of the comments, one of the viewers said that they were trying to place sesame seeds on a hamburger bun and that this technique would have saved them a lot of time. Now, that's good, but it also made me think, isn't there like an easier way to put sesame seeds on the top of a baked good in Cinema 4D? Now, of course, if these sesame seeds needed to be in the shape of a company's logo or showing a smile or some other sort of specific order, this technique won't work very well. But if you just need some sesame seeds scattered on the surface of another object, I think this will work pretty well. So let's dive right in and see how we can accomplish that. What I've got here is a torus representing our bagel and a giant sesame seed that I haven't scaled yet. So let's scale the sesame seed down a little bit. I just wanted it to be big so you guys can see it. And then let's actually grab a cloner object. So the MoGraph cloner is what we're going to use here. We can actually place our sphere, aka our seed, inside of the cloner, and the cloner is going to attempt to do the default thing of make a few clones. 1, 2, 3. That's fine, but we don't want sesame seeds in the air. So we select our cloner, and then down here in the mode, there's object, linear, radial. We're going to choose object. What that'll do is give us a slot that we can actually put our object into. So we put the torus into the object slot. So now what happens is it's covered our entire object in sesame seeds. It's actually quite awful looking. So this might be a good time to scale the seed down. The viewport is updating very slowly, so maybe we can tweak some settings before I do that. Instead of doing the distribution as per vertex, you can change the distribution to surface. That way it simply places seeds all along the surface of the object. Now that there's a lot fewer of them, we can just select one and scale it down. So now that we have our seeds on the surface of our object, we're part of the way there. We now have to change the count. We can simply just increase the count of seeds, and this will go up past 100 to as many as we need. And that seems fine, except that when you have a baked good like this, the seeds aren't all pointing in one direction, and they're also not underneath it. So we need to find a way to restrict the seeds only to the top of this object. That can be done pretty easily. If we select our torus and then go from the top view, and then we use our live selection tool with only select visible elements checked, in face mode, polygon mode, we can actually start to select an area on the top of our baked good. So I'm just going to select pretty much all the polygons where I think sesame seeds would land if we sprinkle them from above. Just like that. Now once we have that selection, we can then make sure our torus is selected. We go to the select menu and we say set selection. We can even name the selection if we want. Let's call it up, because these are the faces of this object that face up. Now if we go to our cloner, we can actually drag this selection into the selection slot of the object. Now we only get seeds on the top part. So it's beginning to look a lot more like what we want, except now all the seeds are facing the same direction. I'm just going to make them kind of large for now, just so we can see. They're all facing the same direction. And by the way, if the seeds seem like they're just not in the right position, you can always try changing the random seed, no pun intended. So you can change that to 500 or any number really will give you a different random pattern. So now with the cloner selected, if we go to the MoGraph menu and choose the random effector, all the seeds fly away. This isn't what we want at all. But if we look at why that's happening, we can see the default for the random effector is to change the position. If we uncheck that, check rotation instead, we can control just which axes of the seeds need to be rotated. So the heading Nope. Pitch. Nope. It's got to be the banking. So as we change the banking, all the seeds are still stuck to the surface, but we can now sort of change which direction they are. I'll just change that to 360 degrees, meaning that I'm okay with them pointing in any direction. We can also change the heading and pitch just a little bit. The reason for that is that we can basically make it so that each seed doesn't exactly lay perfectly flat. So we just rotate them all a little bit. And that's it. If we wanted to make the seeds move a little bit away from the surface, right now it looks like they're really embedded into the object and not sitting on the surface of it. What we can do, let's bring the seed down into view. This is the original object. We can actually use the axis tool right here, and we can move the axis. So notice when we move the axis more towards this edge of the object, it becomes buried. When we move the axis towards the other side of the object, it almost seems to be just sticking to the surface. So, if you need to place sesame seeds on or any other object on a surface and you actually don't care where they go, all you care is that they're sort of randomly placed against the surface, this is how I would do it. You can easily change the number of instances on the surface. You can use an effector to change how they're rotated. You can use the cloner's random seed to change how they're distributed. And you can use a polygon selection to change where they appear. So this is a really simple tip, and I hope you enjoyed it. Let me know if you like it, and until next time, see ya!